What's up, golfers? My name's Josh. I'm the director of coaching at P4S Golf. Are you struggling with an over-the-top move in your swing that you can't seem to get rid of? We've got the fix for you today. This is going to take less than 5 minutes, a few simple exercises that are going to open up your body and allow you to make that move where you can actually start to shallow the club and get more of a neutral path coming down to the ball. Let's get into it. First exercise we need to do is actually determine one. It's going to be your lead hip that is really important in terms of opening up in your downswing so that you can shallow the club. If I can't open this hip up, I'm going to get stuck here and then the arms come over the top. So we're going to find what's called your TFL muscle. So it's the muscle that's at the top of the IT band on the side of the leg. And all you need to do is kind of stick your finger in your hip crease or your thumb right on the side where you'd put your hand into your pocket there. And all you're going to do is just try and rotate that foot out to the side a little bit. And as you rotate it out, you might even feel that muscle cramp up a little bit. If it does, it's a sure sign you need to work this area out. So when I poke my fingers in there and rotate it out, I feel that muscle really contracting and kind of popping out into my fingers. That's where you want to we're going to position the butt end of a golf club, preferably a wedge, something that's short so you can grab the top of it. So once I've got that butt end of my club positioned right on that TFL muscle, I'm going to take that hand and hold it at the top, and I'm going to use this hand to control where I'm pressing that golf club, but I'm going to take my top hand and really push it in there with a bit of force so I can feel that I'm working on that trigger point. It's not going to feel very good, especially if this area is tight and knotted up. So hold it there, take some deep breaths, and just sustain some compression. Once that initial discomfort has subsided a little bit, you can maybe start to rotate that thigh in and out like that, nice and smooth, okay? And what you'll find is that 30 to 60 seconds, okay, is probably going to be enough for you if you're pressing in there pretty good. You want to wait till apply pressure until that tender spot has subsided, okay? Once you've done that, we've opened up that lead hip in terms of the soft tissue. We've let that main muscle that internally rotates the hip, and that's this movement. That is what's responsible for you getting onto your lead side and posting up into your downswing and through impact. So once I do that, I'm just going to position this foam roller between my knees. If you don't have a foam roller, you can just put two fists together. That's fine. And all you're going to try and do is, without leaning to the side, is hover this foot off the floor and just move that foot straight out to the side. Maybe hold the end range for about a second or two and bring it back in. And as I do that, you should feel that muscle, that TFL muscle, really squeezing and having to work to rotate that hip internally. Hold it for a second and come back. So you can do about 8 to 10 of those, holding it for a second or two. And if you're barely getting away from the foam roller and you're really finding that you're stuck, that's a sure sign that you need to keep on doing this soft tissue work first. Then we're going to do these little rotations out to the side with the foot. So that is sequence number one for the hips. Now we're going to move on to the trail shoulder, which is really going to allow you to shallow that club. Let's get into it. Now we want to work on that trail shoulder. So we've already worked the lead hip. That's going to allow us to post up and get the body through. Now we have to work on that lead shoulder. So we're going to locate a muscle called infraspinatus. That's one of the main rotator cuff muscles. If you find that bony ridge right on top of your shoulder blade, you should feel it. That's the top of the shoulder blade. We're going to position this lacrosse ball. You could use a softball if you wanted to, just beneath that. So I'm going to reach under the armpit with my hand here, position it on my trail shoulder blade, and then I'm just going to position myself beside a wall. I'm going to walk out a little bit from the wall and just lean back onto it. So I'm kind of pinning that lacrosse ball in place and leaning against it. And I might have to just adjust my body, maybe tilt my pelvis side to side or up and down a little bit. But once I locate that trigger point, I can feel it's pretty uncomfortable right there. I'm just going to sustain compression, try and relax the arm. Okay. After about 15, 20 seconds, once that initial tension or of that trigger point has subsided, I can raise my elbow up a little bit, 90 degrees, and try and get this motion going. Like I'm going to sort of wave to somebody here, but I'm rolling my wrist back behind me. Keep the elbow 90 degrees, so I'm not doing this. Keeping that elbow 90 degrees and just rotating back. And I really feel that right behind that shoulder blade where that lacrosse ball is. Again, 30 to 60 seconds until you feel like that initial tension has subsided. So that's going to open up A little bit of movement in that muscle. It's going to allow us to develop more mobility. Let's go on to our last exercise. Okay, so our last exercise is going to open up this trail shoulder, help us shallow the club. This is called our shoulder liftoff. It's going to help us in terms of external rotation. I'm going to stand beside a wall, corner of a wall or a door frame, okay? All I'm going to do is get my elbow out at armpit or shoulder height, 90 degrees at the elbow. That is the key. I'm staying 90 degrees. I'm never doing this with the elbow, okay? And the wrist stays neutral. So I get the arm straight out to the side, and I'm just going to shuffle in towards the wall, staying nice and tall. Again, that elbow is straight out from my armpit. I'm not way up here and I'm not way down here. Elbow stays 90 degrees, and you can see my palms turned in a little bit. So we don't want to flick the wrist back like this. We're just going to keep the wrist neutral. And I'm just going to try and point my thumb behind me. I'm going to roll my elbow forward into the wall so that my wrist and forearm come off of the wall. So this is that external rotation, the shoulder that we need to sort of neutralize the club path on the way down and shallow it out. I feel a big squeeze in this rotator cuff muscle here that we were just working with the lacrosse ball. That is exactly what we want to feel. Hold that end range for a second or two, come back to the wall and repeat, hold. See if you can go a little further each rep without arching the back. We won't want to do that. And you can do that about 8 to 10 times. Okay, so we've opened up the trail shoulder. We've opened up the lead hip. That's really going to allow you to open up and drop that club in that slot, shallow it out. That's going to help you with that over the top move.